Well, this sure is mysterious. Of course, we got the, that guy. Fighting over Flaming Dragon Ball. There's a puke option too, rock hard tussle. And truthfully, I have no idea what I'm doing. I may be European, but I wasn't exactly raised on a diet of FIFA, if you know what I mean. But okay. I know what y'all are truly here for. I wanna see that Majin Ozoto. That famous scene where they milk Cumber. All of the many beautiful boys. And other such famous legendary Dragon Ball moments, medias, and Majins. So, there's a Dragon Ball Z Pippin game. Yeah, anime designer Dragon Ball Z. It is based off of a old school, cool, pre-blingy MS Painty sort of thing called Flying Colors by Edward de Jong. Edward also made anime designer DBZ, which means, and trust me, I have confirmed this. I rabbit-holed so hard I was on the Wayback Machine looking at websites from the 90s. That this is a Dutch Dragon Ball Z game. My culture, my heritage. Being an Apple Pippin game, however, playing it was going to be a problem. Like, even if I bought a Pippin, which I don't particularly want to do, the game itself is extremely rare and expensive. The Pippin fandom website luckily claims that it not only has a Windows release, but that the Pippin version should run on Mac as well. And where I couldn't find any evidence of the Windows release, like at all, the Macintosh repository hosted a Japanese Pippin bin queue, and so to Infinite Mac I go to boot this fucker up, which follows in Flying Colors' footsteps very closely. If you've ever used MS Paint, one can get gisted simply by glancing at its UI. The 90s website talks about licensing it out to schools, so that's the realm we should be thinking in here too. Edutainment with Goku. Far as MS Paintian tools go, though, it is a fair bit ahead of its time. I mean, there's animating gradients that can be assigned to the spray can, meaning that one can make glitter and sparkles blingy style. And much like blingy, it has fun assets for days, like individual parts of Kami's Lookout, or street signs and buildings, which is on some sprite sheety and breakdown level shit. You can really just have fun and make your own little places. Have Frieza, Chaozu, and Oolong partake in a wee picnic. You can give Fat Gotenks a desert silo house. Tabura and his banana. The epic battle of Boo versus Nappa and GT Trunks. And of course, the immensely tiny, yet overly confident Lord Slug. Oh no, Lord Slug, watch out! Yeah, this is all just really cute, honestly. Great little creative tool. Otherwise, there ain't much else on the disc. The Power and Tree icons just boot up the game. There's a tutorial mode where nerdy adult Gohan shows you around, which is neat, and similarly, the computer can do things for you, like a whole fusion sequence, so it is all kinda what it is, but what it is, I just so happen to really appreciate. As someone who drew hella Gokus as a kid and smashed those proverbial action figures together in Tenkaichi, it is very fun to see a Dragon Ball game that's a creative toy box for the children. Now, what's interesting about the Pippin game, aside from, just kind of everything about it really, like look at this insane ass box art and also the Apple Pippin? Hello? Is that it's published by Namco. They do DBZ nowadays, but back then, outside of Japan, that was very firmly in the Infogrames zone. The innovative embrace of the gay armadillo. I've seen their website before. They talk about Final Bout on there, and they just straight up lie and make shit up. Like, it does not have free roaming environments, or an ever-changing storyline with 3 endings. It doesn't even have any endings. I'm pretty sure this bitch just cuts to the credit when you beat Vegeta, baby! Also, these screenshots are the wrong game. That's Ultimate Battle 22, one of my favorite DBZ games. Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. But to its credit, this is Tosei's first PS1 game, possibly even their whole ass first time working with 3D. It's from 1995. Mere months after Tekken 1's OG arcade release, months after the first Kingsfield, there's SNES fighters they themselves made that came out after this. That's how old this fucker is. So I'd argue this is all perfectly acceptable stank for its time, and it's a stank I kinda mess with in that I don't quite enjoy playing it in the moment, but I sure as shit love thinking and talking about it after the fact sort of way. Cause yeah, sure, the AI is total ham penis and will spam the same spam at you, and it's rather stiff and the sprites don't scale good, having inconsistent sizes between characters and frames, and blasts are always just little lemons, which ain't particularly satisfying, but I adore the trademark symbols in the names because it implies someone individually registered Zarbon as a license onto itself. I also love the levels looking like little test environments or old 3D landscaping software. The wee 2D realistic trees on Kami's Lookout, or the weird tessellation, interlation, chromification going on the crowd at the tournament. You know, that's because they ripped that shit from some VHS tape or whatever, some data disc. It's a crusty screenshot of the crowd from whatever dubious sources they also got these stank-ass animation cells from, posing as character movesets. Ultimate Battle 22 is just jank in such a way that it almost offers a peek behind the curtains and into the kitchen, laying the process of its creation bare on the surface. And I fucking love shit like that. Anyway, despite having owned this as a kid, I've never actually completed a full playthrough. In fact, it is a task I held to be nearly impossible for most of my life. But this time, I knuckled down and did it, because I simply needed to know what would happen when one did. The answer? Credits. You see, Ult 22 has no story. Or rather, it did. Quite the stinky looking story too, with some South Parky lip flaps. It's just, that's only in the Japanese version, likely due to hiring voice actors not being within the localization budget. The localization it got in 2003, I might add. Yeah, fucking the show popped off, and so they were like, hey, Lama, let's drag out this 10-year-old game, gut shit, and touch up nothing.
What if it was the only role left? Love Dragon Ball Z? Get Ultimate Battle 22, the import for the PlayStation game console. Rated teen.
What's even more interesting is that Tosei themselves, very shortly after the original release, made a totally overhauled iteration for the Sega Saturn called Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden. And wow, goddamn, just on the title screen alone, the victory lap ambitions are potent. The fuck y'all doubted us. We got this though, level energy. Simply flexing their stuff, adding a flair to the pre-battle banter, bubbles to the loading screens, while boastingly showing its combo lists of claimed competitive competence and a mood, a vibe, on the now 2D animated stages. It's the same character assets and animations with a smidge of the old digitization crust, but scaling and moving far more naturally this time around. And the sprites is bigger too, which suits them well. And moreover, like I said, Tosei had made tons of DBZ fighters already. A lot of these do play similarly to Battle 22, just with more unique gimmicks going on to hide the bare booty stiffness. Like how in the Genesis game, the stages would be mega massive, the fit of the property it's based upon, thus resulting in split-screen views upon opponentive distances, which is present here in Shin Butoden 2. It is ironic, I suppose, that despite this using 2D stages over 22's 3D, they'd actually expand upon that mechanic by letting folks smash each other into the stages or adding all manner of cinematic flourishes and touches centered around the signature attacks. When that flow gets going, all the cutting and zooming makes this game look dynamic as heck in a way the PS1 release never fucking could. God damn, Willem, look at this. Look at how roomy our new apartment is. I know, you're right. We can't let Osato find out that we've hijacked his phallus palace. Oh, come on. That's unfair. All of these pre-Budokai fighters handle the same way. Ultimate Battle 22 isn't uniquely bad or anything. Even the Saturn one, despite all it does, has the same stink at its core. Hell, if anything, those big sweeping animations and swooping zipping around make it slower and floatier and even a bit disorientating on a base level compared to any of the other ones, let alone Battle 22. It's cookie cutter like Dabura? Nah, that's just plain rude, Willem. Especially because Shin Butoden has an amazing story mode centered around Mr. Satan getting in with some underworldy types and Android 18 helping him out. The presentation fucks. The animated sprite work is impeccable. The full voice acting with the official voice cast owns. And also, this ties into the story of fucking Bio Broly. This Mr. Satan and Android 18 dealing with the Scumlord's plotline is the setup for hecking Bio Broly. the movie where Broly becomes a horrific slime monster due to evil experimentations done on some goofy-ass mafia island. I love this movie. It's dumb as bricks, and I'm baffled and amazed that this game is part of its continuum. Plus, it's so involved to boot, not just as its own tiny episode of the anime, but as a proper mode where the player has to help Mr. Satan organize, sabotage, and gain a tournament to earn the money he owes the mob. Placing bets, throwing bananas from the sidelines, bribing contestants with flowers and food, and doing a bunch of shit I can't read, it's all hella adorable. For sure, as raw competitive fighters, these games perhaps aren't ideal, but you could also look at it this way. They ain't no Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu for the GBA. God, even using the Piccolo controller can't save this one. Cause I mean, whoa, no fucking way. That's Vegeta. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real. Coming from these ancient shits, this doesn't even feel half bad to play. It's snappy. The scope is small, so the movement is less of a hassle, and it has old school MK style impact with the screen shakes and beefy sounds, and moreover, it's funny. The giant foot, it's funny. Front-facing Piccolo, funny. And I just adore how GBA games look. This disgusting pile of renders is right up my alley. Father, no way. That's a nice ass. That ass was made by a foot. No, not that one. A Webfoot Technologies, the studio behind many a GBA DBZ banger. Most famously, the Legacy of Goku series, a wholesome set of games that allow the player to hang out and live in the Dragon Ball world with all of its friends. Going on cute picnics with Frieza and too, just like how we did on Pippin. The first shares the Taiketsu and jank, but similarly, it's also the cutest hecking thing to me. Goku's Whis man energy, his tiny screams of anguish. It's adorable qualities all around. Flying Hims Bimbas home solely to go on a leisurely stroll towards the battle with Raditz, fighting snakes, dogs, collecting herbs, and having an epic standoff with a dinosaur. Yep. It's a real zinger of a fight, this one. Really gets the blood pumping. Dad, where were you? Well, you see, Gohan, I had to collect 3 rocks and exterminate an entire species of dog just so that I could happily stroll past a sea of dead animals. Except for the cats, of course. You kill the dogs, but befriend the cats. That's the mark of a great game. Anyway, because I'm insane, I got locked into fighting this thing for 1.5 hours. Smug piece of shit grinning at me all the way through. I didn't even kill it. I gave up after wasting that much time by letting it take my life. My soul in shambles, my morale blown to pieces, begging for the sweet release of the eternal sleep. Limited edition poster inside. Whoa, I wonder what it looks like. Regardless, I love these games, as do many folks, certainly the second. Less beloved, or even talked about much at all, is Dragon Ball GT Transformations, also by Webfoot and also for the GBA. Well, when you look up Dragon Ball GT GBA, you're more likely to find this compressed piece of work than you do the actual game. Shout out GBA video, I guess, but also shout out this game. It's not a stinky fighter or a Dora Jank RPG, but instead a funnable 2D beat-em-up, chronicling half of the GT story through trademark Advancian Skung Vien cutscenes. Though, as far as that Skung goes, these are actually rather tasteful, salaciously displaying its precious pixel PFPs over selectively encrusted screens from the show, granting the player a pace quicker than the GT TV show ever could bestow. And it ends at Baby, aka Bebe, aka Bebi. Not gonna lie, the planetoidian structure with the adventure-heavy focus I think would lend itself mega well to being game-turned. In my mind, I likely would have pictured a JRPG, if anything, over a beat-em-up, but still, it shows as much as such. Because GBA buttons, there's not but a kick and a jump with the shoulders filling out key blasts and aura farming, for which also bar. With Select, the player can switch characters, and while they don't handle drastically differently, they do all have their own gimmicks and quirks. Pan, for instance, has Giru with her, mimicking her moves whenever she moves, and Trunks has that teenager Lank, which grants him a larger area of effect, but also a bigger hitbox, and Goku is just small and fast, but less powerful than Trunks, as wild as that is to say. Regardless, this is where the depth comes from, because various situations will call for various characters. If there's many smaller dudes, pick Pan and Giru. If there's hella hovering guys, tug out a Trunk so you don't have to jump. And benched bitches also slowly heal up, and given that damages do get dished out quickly, switching is encouraged. At its core, it all feels for reals quite nice to play. Like the plot, it moves quickly. I dig this crunky kineticness of the sounds and animations. I like how things explode for no reason, and I love all the big melon pizza burger item drops. While for its time, maybe a bit old-timey, I would say it on par with the classic 16-bit beat-em-ups. Walk to the right, tear shit up, enjoy a bit of spectacle and background changes. Certainly, it's repetitive, but I like it as a mindless, meat-headed fun time genre. It's also kind of an easy game, to be fair, which I dig. It doesn't fall into the annoying pitfalls like stun locking, and with the switchable cast, death is always pretty far away too. If I had any complaints, is that while every level does have its own enemies, thus keeping them all fresh and distinct from each other, it is always like 2 or 3 per level, meaning that they can strain a bit onto themselves, especially with some enemy times being a tad annoying, like those Blocko guys who negate your damage wholly, or the flying fuckers, but honestly, I don't really care either way. There's a Gex reference. A Crash Bandicoot 2 reference. And a really bizarre bug that happens even on real hardware, meaning that it either has the best anti-piracy protection ever, or that it's still a bit of that Webfoot jank looming within the shadows. I patched a ROM to make it past it to the 3rd level, only for it to happen again on the next one. Resetting it fixes it luckily, but it's still bizarre. I've never seen a GBA game do this before, and I'm not even emulating it. It's weird. Weird like how Dragon Ball GT is in general. Haha, yeah. Granted, I was a fiend for that shit. Do I remember being bored with the pacing at times? Sure, but dog damn god, I just loved its potential. I mean, Super is really out here being like, hey, Lamau, the guy who bounces at a nightclub, Frieza but gold, Goku but evil. Not exactly the most innovative ideas to me, though the manga defo has stuff. Meanwhile, however, GT has fucked up balls with an evil cigar smoking dragon, and has this 90s ass Android 17 design. Like, this motherfucker fronts a band. And you best believe I own this Vegeta Bebe card for good reason. I just adore how cock penis this design is, not to mention Super Saiyan 4 and the guy liner giant hair metal mullet. That shit is raw, hard, significant, picante, blessed, and incredible. Mustache Vegeta, Playboy Goten, all the fun, funky planets and alien designs. It's, like I said, all really creative. Does it struggle from the pressure cooker that is the anime industry? Yes, but that doesn't stop me from appreciating all that it tried. And so, shout out even GT Final Bout. Did a whole stiff off with it a few years ago, seeing that this is the type of game where even being within range to hit each other good or face each other properly is a challenge. It's the type of game where move lists and shit just recommend you to smash buttons. Yeah, this is the gameplay experience in a nutshell, honestly. For what it's worth, it has all the things. Beam struggles, signature move, those flailing punchy situations, the flying, and where the controls are eldritch, figuring out their obscurity can be entertaining. Thing is, too, for myself and a lot of people playing this while the show aired, it had kind of a cool mystique about it, given that you saw shit that you likely wouldn't see air for a few more years. So it had that aura, that swagger that says, yeah, you can play as the giant monkey. The beat that lets you menacingly walk forward as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. The confidence that is this roster with the 7 Gokus and 3 Trunkses. And they don't look half bad. The backgrounds have a nice painterly sort of vibe about them, and the models aren't terrible, all things considered, even with the sausage link tails. It's definitely a game that would impress a child of the early 2000s, is what I'm saying. By the way, what's up with this IGN cheats page?
Super Baby, Baby Vegeta.
Super Baby's level First beat the game with Goku, then after the credits at the title screen press triangle 5 times and X 9 times and then you should get Goku 4. After that go to 2P mode and pick Goku 4 as 2P and pick whoever you want as 1P. But as for Super Saiyan 4, you'll also have the Baby cheat on here like 3 times in variously worded ways, none of which have worked. Like I tried the Game Shark Bebby and even that didn't work. Not that I had a bad time with my Bebby-less run though, because as I alluded to, I like this game. The GBA one's probably the better thing to own, I guess, if you want to be that way, but Kid Me never had that, and so I don't have the memories attached. Besides, what I lacked in game, I made up for by owning something even cooler. It is the Dragon Ball GT chess set, my pride and joy. Because dear God, this box is so fucking skunk penis. Sporting little pictures on the back with the actual pieces. Dr. Dildo, or whatever his name was, is not happy to be here. And holy shit, this Goku. Please let him actually look that way. Opening this things up reveals wee prisms storing our tiny friends. And they are friends, because I mean, check this Shenron. Hey guys, it's me, Uncle Shenron. They defo debuffed his bulge though. The box proudly displays it, but the figure seems to have circumcised his power level something fierce. They also got 2 oobs, aka tube. Hey Trunks, buddy? You sure you're doing okay there? Also, yeah, the Goku is indeed just built this way. Oh, if anything, he might look even a little better here than he did on the box. Good thing that he has an army of clones to keep him company then. He needs all the help he can get, I bet. As do I, because my ass ain't exactly an expert chess player. Given the target demo, they likely figured this to be the case, hence why the board tells you how to put the pieces down. I gotta say, Kid Gokus and babies are such bizarre choices for pawns. The rest is kind of like, yeah, okay, sure, you make do, and I suppose GT didn't have Cell Juniors or Cybermen type jobbers to work with, but this is still pawnification of both the actual main fucking character and the second most primary villain that the whole series has. Baby does do the body snatcher thing, I suppose, but as far as I remember, that didn't make for an army of actual babies, but to its credit, it is a functional chess set. It works. Chess can be played upon it. And I defo take something like this over to regular schmegala. Gotta have a bit of extra sauce on my chest, you know what I mean? I also fuck with the board's reflectivity. Makes the lined up pieces look pretty raw and hard all stanced up for the epic battle that is surely about to commence here. Not me though. I don't have anyone else to play with other than... Oh, there he is. Dr. Dick Boy. On camera. Willem, stay quiet. Quiet, Willem. He's right there. He fucking came back home, and he is not happy. Huh? Willem, what did you find? Whoa, Willem, no way. A chip PS1. Oh my god. All of these illegal games and hacked consoles? Could it be? Is Ozoto doing crimes? Wow, just like my dad used to. Hence why I too owned a chipped PS1 growing up, which granted me access to all manner of illicit things. Amongst them being buckets of Japan only and other non-PAL releases ignorantly played by me unaware of their foreign statuses. But Thor, couldn't you have not have read of the Reddit reading? Yeah, well, it's not like I could read English back then either, or anything for that matter, so I simply accepted shit for how it be. Like, oh, this game has symbols like this. okay. That is why, for years, a DBZ game that I used to own would confuse and elude me when trying to re-find it. I owned several of them, all in mysterious lingos, but this one I didn't even remember which spoken it spoke. That game I know now to have been called Idainaru Dragon Ball Densetsu, and is often localized by fans as Dragon Ball Z The Legend, which is great and all until while searching you also run into Dragon Ball Z Legends and Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors and Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku. That's just too many names, which muddied the waters to me to the point that you could bottle and sell that shit. Tasty Planet Namek water. It is a very unique game, though. It's not a fighter or a RPG. It's just sort of its own thing, really. Translating how DBZ fights go into a game style all its own. So, there's big team battles actually taking place in the air, teleporting, rapid-fire punch kicks, high speeds, and key blasts blasting up the ass. Its primary mechanic is this right here, the Tug of War bar. Doing damage won't do damage, but instead it'll inch the bar to the side of they who dished out. Once tugged to completion, a beam will blast, in epic cutscene style. Featuring many things like Goku serving you up a nice tasty burger, or Krillin's famous Dick and Balls beam, or Frieza shooting his Nike logos. Classic. These attacks are the only way to do damage, and it'll usually take about 3 or 4 of these to end someone depending on who's who. That's because there are also stats, none you can see or affect at all, but like plot-wise. A Goten is gonna do less damage than a Gohan for as far as the cutscene moves go, same way a Goku beating the shit out of Frieza will tug more bar than a Krillin doing that. So there is a strategic element at play here, knowing which battles to pick or who to send out when. Thing is too, more often than not, there's more folks in a fight than are actively fighting. And you can bench and switch people whenever you want, which is also where one can get a smidge of the sideline commentary through to its Shonen Jumpy and source material. And that's not all. While it ain't a fighter, thus there being no giant move lists, it is more than just mashing all the same buttons all the same, being that the directional inputs you inputs affect what base attacks do, like smashing people up or down, grabs or flurries of punches, and these types of hits can be connected, and the feel of that is fucking incredible. Aside from it just blasting out tugs like it ain't shit, it's so fun to create this intense pocket of focus and clarity within the chaotic scramble. Taking him on a grand tour across the fields, into the skies, and through mountains. Same way I love separating myself, taking a break to Aura Farm, and then from said farm blasting back in with maximum the sparking. The camera work is also always so sweeping and dynamic too. It honestly rules. That said, due to the chaos and each individual scramble contributing to bar, the fights can last quite a fucking while, not to mention be heinously difficult randomly. Again, everything and everyone contributes to the tugfest, so even if you, the player, are killing shit and hauling ass, Trunks or whatever may very well be off screen getting his ass ate by 16, and so the bar stays sad. Blocking also isn't the easiest thing either, with everyone off so huddled in twain, and given how much I struggle during certain mega long fights, like literally all the Ginyus in one battle, I had no idea how to beat this game as a kid. Barely even managed it now, but hot dog, I did it. All just to see that credit sequence sporting Bad Hair Day's Soul Patch Vegeta. Just awful. Thanks. Though I also did that, being that quite crucially it runs through the entire story of Z. By way of colored manga panels, slideshows with announcer voice, sure, but I like how it sets up each fight as its own little anime episode. Boasting, again, the battle banter and voice lines, and just overall, I fucking love how it presents itself. The big attacks alone are these low-poly works of art. Auras glow big, beams are cutely transparent, explosions are crispy wee gifs, and directing choices like Gohan shooting his Mei into the camera is hard as heck. Not to mention all the battle intros and the many cutscenes they provide. Anyway, running through the whole Z matters because despite how often maligned it is that these games do that, in the grand scheme of all of them put together, that's actually really very rare. It is also the first to do it. Prior to Legend, the games that clearly would have wanted to couldn't have due to Z not actually having finished yet. It's why it has such a recency bias towards Boo dedicating by far the most time to it. And yeah, the legacies do it, but in 3-game chunks. Or a game like Budokai 3 will do it, but in a funny, half-scrambled, squished down sort of way. Hell, even fucking something like Burst Limit, which dropped way past worldwide airings, ends at Cell. Just like Budokai 1, which I'd argue probably is the most effort dedicated to this notion, sans mayhaps one game we'll get to later, being that I'm building up to a segment about the releases that focus specifically on bringing Z to life. These cutscenes are so genuinely impressive. The voice work, animations, sound effects, all the original music with the scenes, assets, and places recreated. It's not a mere narration slideshow saying Goku was in the hospital. Nah, bitch, you get to see that shit. Going through all the relevant Bulma outfits as well, aka the most important thing about the entire franchise. It's truly a degree of detail none of these shits get to, and I think that's really neat. Granted, there is also Attack of the Saiyans, and I fucking love that game, but it's more original Dragon Ball than Z, and even still ends at Jeter and Napper. But it defo goes to wild lengths to bring the world to life though. This is also why I dig Kakarot so much. Getting to explore all of those iconic locales and seeing them in their realized geographical context is likely the most of this it'll ever be. The titular taker of the cake. But again, that dropped in 2020. It took that long, and so yeah, prior to it, there's only a few games I can think of that did all of Z in detail, and one of which happens to be quite the cool little RPG for the Game Boy of Color. Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors! God motherfucking damn, listen to that sound chip go! Such gravity, such scale. All for a cartridge with Gohan's disembodied head on it. Fucking Discord emo looking ass. It's a big game though. Big game, small sprites. Adorable even. Cute as a button. A button one might press to pick cards, as a card game isn't not what this is, only it also isn't. There's a very literal one of those on GBA as well, but this is more of a traditional turn-based RPG, just with every move in battle being represented by a finite deck of cards rather than anything MP-based. Also, the map parts aside, there's no random angst or anything. It's only the primary fights, with most of the story kept intact. Many screens, hella art, loads of pixels, big moments conveyed with as much small detail as the mini handheld could muster. Capturing everything from the title cards and a trip into Boo's guts to making sure you know that Yamcha knows he got cucked by Vegeta. For sure, the writing's truncated, but really only by the standards set by the anime. Comparing it to manga pacing, it's honestly not that bad. It's not like all of the fighters where it's just rushing you through the plot just to get to the fights. It is actually telling you the story, and there's a difference in that, I find. It also does so mostly from Gohan's POV as well, starting with him training against Piccolo as a tutorial, and then with all the adventures on Namek, his centricity during Cell, and while Goku's dead. I feel like this approach makes way more sense than putting the focus on Goku as many other games would have. This type of DBZ card game is interesting too, as it sits in a long line of them dating back to the Famicom days. Dragon Ball Z's side story planned to eradicate the Saiyans, which introduced Hachiok for instance, is one of them. I want to grab some footage just for context, and holy heck is it impressive. The shot of space at the start almost appears as if 3D, busting out the big time cinematic feels, setting itself up as its own tiny episode, which, weird roundabout way it even became. First being adapted into a Playdia release as this weird FMV game that I have no way to access, but that sure is plenty mysterious. And then way later turned into a movie. It has Psycho Frieza. It has Arby. It has Scud. And goddamn, with names like that, I get why they adapted this bitch. Though, in general, it's got a lot of meat on those bones. Wild ass battle animations too, a little bit of open worldy freedom, and it's also ancient as fuck, and I don't know how the walking works. What is happening? Oh no, my Goku died. Luckily, the Game Boy Color game streamlines and builds upon these foundations expertly. I don't know if I give enough fucks to in-depthly explain how it works, but it really do be like two phases to a turn, defensive and offensive ones. Build decks with the limited cards the story grants you, and be mindful of the costs of cards versus the card cost you have as displayed in the lower right. The heart of the system is to ostensibly be chipping and charging across turns until one can do a big signature thing to do the real damage. Otherwise, it has cute little QTEs that really do not fuck around to keep one on toes, and positionings in battles also make a bit of difference. It's like as much strategy as it is luck of the draw, and while it can be fairly hard and repetitive, I can't say that I didn't really dig it either. I mean, how could I not with this angry little man? I think that's by and large because the AI is always rather readable. Like, when they begin a charger in, it's almost always for a big motherfucker thing 2 turns later that the player can then avoid decently easily with the right cards provided they have them. Which you really do have to do, seeing that in most cases you're fighting people way stronger. This is not a power fantasy Goku big dick game. When you're Gohan fighting Nappa, you're Gohan fighting Nappa. If he mouth blasts you even when he only has 1 pip of health left, it's Jonas, Jover, Jane, Jonathan. Fuck you if you were fighting this battle for like 20 minutes. You're doing that again, bitch. Oh, and by the way, that pip he had left is a pip you can't even clear with your base attacks. And as much as a soft little bitch as I am, I fucking love that about this game, honestly. Well, you know, with states and speed 'em ups ain't raw dog and shit. This shit was meant for the backseat of a car, not for a TV. I gotta compensate for that. But I love how much you actually have to think. Like I said, there's no random enks. It's all boss battles basically. Every fight a primary and very designed and planned as a result. GT chess type shit. Real Kiryu with the hand on his chin little stuff. That said, the randomness can suck a fat load of ass sometimes. I fought Freezer twice and I lost the first time because he hit me with 2 moves in a row that I could have blocked or avoided had I been given the right cards to do so. I just wasn't. And during the second battle, he did different shit that I was luckily handed the right cards for, but being left defenseless even when on the ball strategy-wise otherwise does feel a little bit unfair. Suppose you could also blame deck shit, like my deck was built bad, but it's not like the game hands cards out like candy. In a normal playthrough, you're quite limited in what you can add, and the cards you win post-battle I'm pretty sure are also random drops. And it's not like I hadn't already had all my avoidy blocky cards in my deck to begin with either. This is where the map parts play a bigger role. They break up what easily could have been an endless string of battles and cutscenes with wee moments like helping Yajirobe find his sword, searching for Dragon Balls, exploring Boo's innards, or tracking down eggshells. Through all of which, bonus cards can be gained, but even that's all pre-planned and it's not exactly dishing out shops or towns or nothing, so you do have to just bear with the randomness, though. Yeah, as a game that runs through all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z, it is very fucking cool, as like I said, not many games really do take you through all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z in quite such a way. I can really only compare it to Kakarot and its exploration of all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z Sagas' exploration of all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z, and oh god, Dragon Ball Z Sagas! Boy, this game. I have so many memories of this game I have never played before until now. Shout out getting the tutorial VO from the most relaxed and kind-sounding Vegeta ever, though.
Collect Z coins to purchase skill upgrades.
Hold up, Kami? Did Kami sound like baked Vegeta? Slowly, it's sinking in that my interactions with Dragon Ball for like the past 20 years have been exclusively through games, DBZA, and manga. So this game hitting me with all the stanky anime parts hits pretty raw, as do these epic moves and animations. He looks so constipated, so unergonomic. This Goku's gonna have heinous back problems later in life. Andal's kind of floaty as well. I'm sorry! Jesus Christ, this music too. Triumphant space opera type shit.
Sensu beans give you extra lives.
Blessed be the flying that looks like how fucking Chaozu moves. And yeah, Goku can't fly any higher than this. Goku needs uppies. Poor guy, his back's fucked and now he can barely even jump. I will say, it is very cute to be able to explore the lookout so casually like the invisible wall. Oh hey, in many ways, this is a not 3D Legacy of Goku 1. It's also just that it also looks like the Dragon Ball Z Warcraft 3 mods, but with the camera positioned further down. I don't think that's a compliment, but in a strange way, I fuck with it. Because I adore this universe, and while it's all fun and dandy to fly, blast, and fight my way through it, I much prefer to just kind of vibe and chill, really. It's why I love Legacy of Goku so much, and the fact that this is at least kinda similar in 3D, I do dig. Much like it, we also start with a brisk foresty walk on our way to Raditz, although here it's preceded with a fully animated recap of the original Dragon Ball. Animated in a way that's, well, it's animated, and any variety of animated is high effort. Even stinkishly digital 2000s Dragon Ball animations taking us through Red Ribbon and Piccolo Cliff Note style is still more original animation than a lot of these other games have gotten, and that to me is pretty baffling. Like, who even made this? Dan the Oreo and Charlie Rizzo. Okay, perfect names, no notes. It also had a One Piece animator as the supervisor and lead. He's still there on Super, but this is fresh up off the boat, and so hence, wide Vegeta. Though, yeah, first fucking level. We walk along a big long linear trek through the woods as puking, expanding, and inflating orange Cybermen detonate from awkward beatdowns. And not gonna lie, I'm here for it. As the ominous yet soothing atmospheric music, the crunchy, crispy footsteps, the sounds of the birds and the winds emanating from the fresh pine trees and lush mountains in the background are all pretty fucking great. The flowers on ground looking straight up cut out of a tablecloth. I'm just simply in love with this mood, really. Fighting some goons with this easy and simple to the point of ignorably janky combat, only to then get hit with this. This fucking music. This beautiful linear expanse. The suggestion of adventure ahead. No cap, all caps. A lot of this is giving like Pokemon Gen 3 to me. It's the trees and the color palette for sure, but it's also just this sense of this big long linear path, this road to becoming the best there ever was. It suits Dragon Ball well. Z, less so, but Dragon Ball, and I love Dragon Ball, and I'd say exactly that in regards to how Legacy of Goku 1 makes me feel as well. Either way, the game just hit us with a puzzle. We have to spend the Z coins we've been collecting to purchase a new move to blast apart these boulders. If I had enough coins, that is. Now, I know, I'm doing this linear review thing old school style, but if I was to break away from that, I'd tell you here and now that nay, a single stage is never not linear enough to not entirely trivialize collecting. The only thing it doesn't tell you is that items can be hidden in rocks that one can only blast apart but not punch. Blast only. Only once I figured out that Mega Mind level conundrum, I was well on my way to upgrade. Running back, I can well and truly appreciate the running animation too. It's really cute. Ooh, now that is an upgrade. Legit, there's a nice amount of chunk to that blast. Could do with a big beamy shaft maybe, but the SFX work is spot on and I dig these PS2 era particle effects. They look fluffy. Sure. And then it's like, yeah, more Cybermen, more rocks, and then the music gets more serious. The air got more tense. Could it be Raditz?
Piccolo.
And goddamn, sure, okay, funny slideshow with the anime clips. Sure, okay, stiff and awkward fighting, but
I'll teach you a lesson, fool.
My god, the mood.
We'll see about that.
The cinematic black bars that slide in out of nowhere, the intense slowdown before mega nutting him straight in the face point blank, Raditz actually teleporting around, slamming Goku into the ground, the epic well-placed voice barks, and again, this raw desperation in the music. This gravity. I'm really fucking into this.
With an army of mindless Cybermen at their disposal, they quickly draw the battle
No,
lines for the
no, no, no,
inevitable
no,
showdown.
no. Hold the goddamn phone. Rewind.
They quickly draw the
No
battle
fucking
lines for the
way.
inevitable.
It's a reference to the Ring Terror's realm. The best games really do always have so much in common. The second level also has a lot in common with the first. You were Goku on a casual stroll to Raditz, and now you're Gohan on a brisk, breezy walk to Nappa. Gohan doesn't really fight any differently either, but don't concern yourself with that. Smoke on this vibe instead. This purple sky, this perfect grass, this tuftual bush. A unique gimmick here is that we're also looking for the Dragon Balls. Gotta wish Goku back after all. And oh, I'm sorry, what? What the fuck is with this buff Cybermen fanfic? These bully of Cyber. I suppose if you're gonna be fighting Cybermen for the whole game, you might as well make up hella types. To that end, as far as basic beat-em-ups go, it is actually fairly well designed, I think. Regardless of the overall pacing, within the levels themselves, I didn't really feel any repetitive fatigue set in, and they're all rather short to boot. During the Vegeta fight, the game shakes things up as well, adding some set-piecey flourishes, like knocking Vegeta through the background mountains, Spirit Bomb, and him spamming his fucking Gallic gun over and over and over and over and over. The game just sort of carries on this way. Linear level, find balls, beat up enemies, boss fights. I like how blue the blue hue on Namek do too. What the fuck? Why is there a UFO? I know I'm in space and fighting aliens, but why is there just a fucking flying saucer? Destroyed Namek looks like the lava level from Sonic 06 with toon shading, and I'm all about it. There's even a fucking level on Yard Rat, which I've not seen any game do before, not even as a background fighting stage, and they do the Trunks timeline too, with a big city area chock full of explodable cars, spraying hydrants, and disaster report bullet witch level destruction. Shout out, these OC Skull Droid designs also, they feel to me like a combination of a Terminator reference and the Skull Pirate robot from OGDB. It's cute. Did get kind of sick of fighting him though, as much as I said about the pacing within stages, the game as a whole and how the levels connect and their variety between does get pretty grating during longer play sessions. In some ways, I don't see that as so much the game's fault as I see it as Namek's fault. The pacing wrench of repetitivity that throws into most DBZ storytelling games has become quite apparent to me during the making of this vid. Though, also, every level does kind of play the same. Combat gets better. Once the ability to teleport is unlocked, it starts to flow decently, if only because it makes stun locking easier, but also, Jesus fucking Christ, 2 levels of the same music with the same robots, and then a third, but in the present, and it all looks cool. Like, I love this gas station. There's an invisible wall, but I love this gas station. These are perfect graphics. This is a smoke spot. But I am getting sick of these robots. They keep blocking my every move, and Bulma, shut the fuck up. I know, just I'm fucking walking here. Though, secretly, I just kind of like this one. It's honestly the stankiest DB titles that I find the most interesting. Legendary Super Warriors is great and all, but I find I get less out of it than something like Sagas. Not even just in terms of video making, just personally, inspirationally, and emotionally. I like Goku the scrunkly little man. I love Cumber, the evil Saiyan. I love this weird interstitial frame of Android 17. That's what I'm all about. Which evidently brings me to... Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Goku, no! Goku, your hairline! I guess he is Dragon Balding. Okay, so this is also a game that runs through the whole story, only it is the story as told by Dragon Ball Z Evolution. A movie that I don't even think to laugh at I'd watch, but this game, I fucking love. Gameplay-wise, it's on some Budokai engine shit, made by Dimps just as well, so it's blazingly kinetic and feels great, but no problems here. Hence why instead what we're left with is these premium primetime PSP VN cutscenes. UMDs! UMDs nuts! Cause we got PSP fonts galore up in this bitch, galing the tailing of Geeko getting bullied and being frustrated that he doesn't know how to talk to girls. That's my Goku right there. Ostensibly being Dragon Ball the American teen movie, the game, taking us anywhere from makeout scenes where Goku senses his grandpa to Chi-Chi throwing a house party and her last name being McRoberts. Yeah, I guess it beats Bulma fucking Enchanto. A lot of shit bull about the blood moon eclipse and air bending and elements. It's like they read the first 2 volumes of Dragon Ball and then just made some shit up like, yeah, we got this. As discordant as it is to have these Budokai menu sounds in a game that looks like this, however, I do at least know how to play the game. Which is more than I can say for Idainaru Son Goku Densetsu for the PC Engine Super CD-ROM Squared, a console that is real, does exist, and is somehow a TurboGrafx 16, I think. Super CD-ROM system! An add-on similar to the Sega CD, so similarly, it is chock full of 3DOian, Panasonician FMV games. Opening up with Goku's death has to be the rawest and hardest way to start a DBZ game, especially as it then cuts to a recap of OG Dragon Ball, just like Sagas! Whoa! Only with genuinely impressive pixel art. Then it does the OP entirely, no corners cut, only with genuinely impressive pixel art. And then it's all fully voiced CD audio cutscenes from here on out with genuinely impressive pixel art because that's really what this game is all about, honestly. Or, well, the gameplay is, Like it's awesome tug of war shit too, funnily enough. There is what I have been able to discern to be various stance-like modes, like a key mode, defense mode, and offense mode, and once tugged we go to this screen where I think you pick a move and the intensity thereof, but honestly I can't figure this game out for the life of me, which doesn't matter being that one can simply pick any scenario from a menu and don't really need to win nothing. Not that I lost either, granted. I don't know how to win or how to die. Tao Pai kept wrecking my ass, but nothing ever came of it, mashing the one button. Seemed to be the best luck I had at achieving much of anything, so I don't know, you figure it out. What am I, a games reviewer? I love the story framing, though. This game dropped back when Boo was current, but probably not done yet, and so rather than including it proper, it is a sort of original story of the great Seiya man telling Goten and the woodland critters Goku decimated for fun back on GBA of shit that happened in the past. Every scenario will have other folks showing up to share stories too, like Bulma reminiscing about Red Ribbon, or fun contrasty things like Hair Krillin next to goddamn Demon King Piccolo Riccolo. And legit, everything here looks amazing. The funky swoosh on Goku's landing after he beats up King Choppa, and all the close-ups and cutaways, and the fun new scenes like Tien blowing up a tornado while training, it's also very, very high effort. Why does this lair look like a goddamn cybernetic dentist office? I'll be real though, this far into the video, I really do love what Evolution brings to the table stages-wise. A distant city in the desert, a lake at night with fireflies, and a traditional Japanese townhouse that also looks weirdly American. Generic lava level? Ooh, it's different, okay? Do you have any idea how often I've had to see Namek at this point? I'm fucking sick of it. So it's a nice change of pace for me in my very particular situation. Oh my goodness! Oh my god, Goku! That is is at least about as off as Raging Blast 2's character select screen, where everybody looks just that smidge interesting. Hell, it was this screenshot of blow-up doll Dabura looking like a goddamn sex balloon that made me pick this one up. Eroge shading? Besides, I wanted to use a post-anime airing in the States era game to show how the full Z in the store E thing is just sort of the norm at this point. But is it actually though? Yeah, so no. So yeah, no. No, yeah. It doesn't really have a normal story mode at all, per se. Thing is, this is in that weird post-Tenkaichi pre-Xenoverse period where no one was buying these bitches and shit got penile. These fucking games got like no budget, no graphics. So we don't get no 2D animated FMV here, not even a funny one. We just get cooler with his bulge, even though he's naked, his naked bulge. Wheeling out all of the actors is also expensive, so instead of cutscenes and writing, we get scenarios, voice barks, and battle banter. Ultimate customize, single play. There's just something weird going on here. Oh my god, there's something really weird going on here. So weird that the single player is a Final Fantasy ability system screen with some random missions. Beat a character before a timer, use a certain type of move, or just fight whoever. And luckily, the gameplay's pretty great. Really speedy, and it does a lot of zipping and zapping for you, and there's QTEs telegraphing hella, so even if you're just mashing, some really Z-ass shit will happen regardless. It reminds me of Jump Force, which I'm pretty sure this and Battle of Z influenced bigly, so that's pretty cool. But also, I really don't fucking care to talk about that or explain more at this point. This game is just kind of risless in a lot of ways, and I'm getting very Z'd out. Nah, I think I'd much rather turn back the clock and get with the original Scrimblow male, Kid Goku. So, despite being a weird sicko who's into like Zyko, also known as Z-Core, is Goku's genetically cloned son. He is half Shinjin, as his mother is the West Supreme Kai. I've actually had a really large gap in my Dragon Ball life for most of my life. That being that I had yet to ever experience the original Dragon Ball. Watching anime can be hard, especially shonen shit because of pacing, but seeing my girlfriend blast through the DB manga from King Piccolo through late Namek in a single week made me realize that maybe this manga thing could be for me. So I cracked open the Frank I bought years ago because of this design and not knowing nothing else, and had a really great time. Smoked Black Paradox, picked up Clover, and oh god, oh no, I have a bookshelf now. Yeah, okay, laugh it up. Tulip GIF, but reversed. At least for manga and comics. Grown-ups books with just letters, I still don't think I have the right brain for, but yeah. Suffice to say, I picked up the whole ball, then Dragon Balled it my way on through it over the course of a month or so. And, wow, the stuff that did to my brain. My whole perception of this series, these characters, altered for good. I used to look down at my Majin Ozoto card in reverence, with respect, like it was what I prayed to. Only now, I glance down at Ozoto on my desk and think, how do we get from a funny kid's glamping trip adventure to fucking Majin Ozoto the super monster and his gigantic cockhouse? How do we end up at Cumber the evil Saiyan, Z-Core man designing orange piccolos? These things I love now feel wrong, as if a violation of this pure little manga adventure. Because, I mean, Oolong was like the original Vegeta, right? Which is nuts to me. What I thought was just this B-ass side character is like a main party member after having been a primary antagonist. Hell, everyone is a Vegeta. Yamcha, Baba, Tien, even Bulma technically opened shots on her boy initially. Goon. Oh my. Oh my! The initial chunk ain't very fight heavy at all either. At most, Goku will throw like one punch to win a battle, and whole chapters can pass with zero fights, merely funny character moments, traveling, and mysterious adventures. And then, when fights do start, they're rather creative and not power level-y or filled with off-screen strength increases. It's not my number bigger and my beam blasts harder, but genuine battles of wits. And the framing is very video game as well, structurally. The Red Ribbon Tower climb, the actual tournaments, the heckin' random encounters it basically has, the treasure hunting. And so, all that has me curious, like, how could this manifest in game form? Because, I mean, while I do love Z and enjoyed a lot of the games discussed so far, Jesus Christ is Z's pacing kind of ass for RPGs. As stated, Namek. But also the Cell games or all the futzing with boo forms toss such wrenches into game pacing, even in something great like Kakarot. No RPG planned from scratch would stick you in one location for as long as Z games make you Namek. I betcha this is why Eradicate the Saiyans had its own story, or why Attack of the Saiyans or Legacy of Goku have so much original content, or Run with the Filler that, while hated by Zoids, I would argue in many ways often contains more OG than most of Z tends to do. So with that in mind, I'd say we take a good, long, hard look at Dragon Power for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Also, dog, don't post those. You can charge for that. So, this is a Dragon Ball game, just with a little bit of that Arzak magic, if you know what I mean. Doki Doki Goki. But we do have a turtle mane, the 7 crystal balls, and Bulma with the scary intense eyes, and it's also clearly sticking to the manga pacing over the anime, being that it's blazingly fast and wastes no time. Plus, I dig this little monkey boy, all the footman on the cover. Look at his cute little jump. The last battle comparings ain't unapt neither, cause you do be blasting motherfuckers away into the ether, and the music has a similar Scrunt-esque quality about it. Naturally, I did die during the second battle in the Doritos zone, but I had 3 crystal balls already, so I'ma just take it as me being goated at this game. No less because even despite the health bar just gradually depleting in time for no reason, I did make it past after a couple of tries, which was well worth it, if only to see this incredible Bulmers over here.
Hey.
Wait, hold on. Did I just pick up a pile of cocaine? Oh, holy shit, he's fast as fuck now. That did not help me defeat the second boss, however, dying to which set me back to the start again. NES games, everybody. Woo! Shout out its swag, though. It has the moxie, the gumption, the guts, the spunk, and other words British people use for cum. Shit owns. I loved it. Not playing anymore, though. Nah, my ass would much rather be smoking on that Origins pack. A release by the Game Republic, aka the folks that brought us Folklore and that really cool fighter also on DS I covered for Japan-only DS games. Going by that, they clearly know how to work that dual screen, proudly showing this off in marketing here with maybe one of the worst, most heinous usages of the dual screening I have ever fucking seen. That's because this is a game that pretty much one-to-one retells the original Dragon Ball. Not as a summary for gameplay context, no, everything is here. From the glamping with Goku getting his first bath and being scared of fluorescent lighting, to Yamcha's whole ass house just for one scene, all recreated with the cutest 3D to have ever hit the screens akimbo. Even including all of the parts I'd have probably left out. But yeah, a lot of very long detailed cutscenes, leaving little to nothing out with, if anything, the gameplay itself only adding shit to the overall adventure. Suppose with the traveling being how it being and the fights being all super short, they add a lot of meat to the more gag-esque situations by turning him into actual little levels. Goku carrying the turtle to sea, for instance, is a level. The bear who gets one-punched man in the panels is a wee boss battle now. Oolong's mansion went from being a Family Guy cutaway joke to a very elaborate puzzle dungeon, and many more things as such. Oh, I see. And what I also see is this game's adorable graphics. Even if the Nimbus freaks me out a little, but I think that's also just neat on its own too. It reminds me a fair bit of the DS Zeldas, which is also basically how it plays. And I don't know how people look back at those now. I definitely loved Phantom Hourglass growing up, but I might also hold the opinion that the full touchscreen controls thing isn't necessarily always the best move. And that's the move this makes too, all the way down to the face buttons just moving the camera slightly and doing nothing else. This means that pushing rocks, opening chests, the combat, and even platforming, oh god, the platforming, are all done through stylus tapping, and the responsiveness just isn't ideal. Like, sure, Grandpa, timing might be vital in battle, but I don't particularly feel I have too much of a hold on that. On one hand, I don't really care. The animation and sound work is terrific, and still both convey a ton of kinetic actionity despite the lack of tactile response what a button gives me. But on the other hand, here's some footage of me trying to extend stick to swipe hit a rock. Touching to where the rock is would make Goku jump there, but a swipe would extendo stick. Yet, as you can clearly see, many of my swipes were still registered as jumps all the same. Granted, the damage Goku takes is chip damage, so they clearly left some room for error. Again, great DS designers. But you also have Bulma with you for most of the game, and girls, they are soft and weak. And this bitch is just running off doing shit, dying off screen, making me redo a few levels several times because when Bulma dies, you die in real life. And God, some of these levels take ages. Some of them also look the same a little bit, a lot, reusing the same songs, great as they are, a bunch too. It just gets repetitive. I probably would have turned some of the cutscene backdrops into gameplay places instead of opting for using the same forest area 5 times fucking over, but, you know, I can't also deny that I didn't dig entering a waterfall together with Bulm, helping her pass past block puzzles and taking big breaks to chit-chat here and there. It is not a lot like the original manga that way. Because these two weren't exactly the best of buds. They got each other into hella trouble and overcame odds that to the average person would have been impossible. And moreover, overall, it all comes together to become more than the parts of some. For a start, the inherent coziness of snuggling up with my DS, going through these scriptsy, pixel, and crunchy sound effects rich levels felt hella nice, and beyond that, the story itself and how it's presented presents such a strong context of adventure to all the doings and goings on. I mean, going on a woodsy walk not far off from Goku's house and beating up the woodland critters reminded me a heck of a lot of, again, Legacy of Goku, and seeing that similarity here helped crystallize for me why I do dig that game as much as I do. See, as I already said, it's cute. Dragon Ball Z, but cute. Or even Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball. It's the journeys, the meeting folks along the way and making friends, which in and of itself is such a great handheld friendly vibe. It's a big part of why I bought the full manga physically rather than screening it, because it's also just so... Just the smell of the pages, the feel of the rougher manga paper, seeing that hand-drawn art up close and personal. It's the same cozy comfort I get out of playing on my DS. Like, I didn't emulate this. I have a new 2DS XL with a cap card, and that added so much, not gonna lie. Little graphics, little screens, little characters, little stylus, and little Goku. Not the most ergonomically friendly experience, like, at all, but a nice one to have, all the same. Okay, Willem, do you have the rice cooker set up? Okay, we just gotta wait till he passes on by. Okay, Willem, go! Yay! Willem, we did it! We got a new house! Some of y'all may be thinking, Thor, who the fuck is Majin Ozoto? After all, he's only featured in the web online freak show that is Dragon Ball Heroes and his own ancient, obscure Japanese exclusive arcade game called Dragon Ball Z VR Versus. It ran on Sega's System 32 arcade board, which doesn't have a Mr. Core, and somewhere in between getting a Pippin game to work and reading through all of the Toriyama manga theater for research and being subjected to a barrage of gross handsy uncle jokes and whatever this was. I am getting that I have done enough for these bitches feeling in regards to figuring out however the fuck MAME works. But while I can't play, I can sure as shit look. And what I see is that this is basically a forerunner to the fucking 360 Connect game. A thing I also would have loved to have included more prominently, but I don't live in a fucking American house, so I literally do not have the available space for a Connect to work. It is pretty interesting though how with the tug of war shit showing up several times, or the long card lineage, and now even Connect DBZ technically being an expanding of ideas from a VR arcade game from the early 90s, that almost every weird, bizarre idea in this wide spectrum of DB gaming has had some type of prior precedent or legacy backing it. I like seeing shit like that. It's like freak shit insular design evolutions, sometimes branching out from within and inspiring whole waves, like how the Tenkaichi games dictated what like every anime game for the next 2 decades will play like. Oh, and also, VR Versus was originally planned for the 3DO as well, and Kanzel, so very little evidence of that port ever came to light, and that kinda sucks, because it means we could have had Ozoto for the 3D Ozoto, and that's just neat to say. Almost as neat as it was to research this game simply named Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it looks fine, it's just a fighter, but what I find noteworthy about it is the design of the cabinet itself. Toriyama for scale. As you see, this is the robot from Tobal. Hey, y'all need to get a load of Tobal. Thing is, it has the most premiumest, stinkiest Toriyama B-tier designs there are. The Dragon Ball rejects, if you will. Like, obviously, he does all his manga, and he cares about Dragon Quest, even has kinda his own style specifically for it, with the non-panel stricken animation burdened hair detail, but Tobal absolutely just got the scraps from his trash can next to the desk, and I love these characters for it. Bootleg on Super Saiyan Teen Gotenks especially hits, and it's not just the cast neither, cause we get Alt Universe's Kami's Lookout, Alt West City, and this dope nighttimey watery dome hometown giving Babas his house a little bit. We get it all, baby. All the scraps. There's also an Amiga game, which is actually fan-made. Super cool. I dig that. But sadly, I think I might have to ignore fan content, as funny as this one seems, because that rabbit hole gets way too big. Like, I mean, even if we just so much as peer inside of the hole, we find the YouTube channel Junko98. And I got obsessed with these Tenkaichi mod showcase vids for a while. Why? Well, that's because Cumbroly, fusion of Cumber and Broly, Omega Cellron, fusion of Cell and Omega Shenron, Go Ghetto, as fuck. The Lengend Goku, Super Saiyan Infinity, Devil Go Geta, Cell Boozer, Zyzer, Zycon, 6'9 Goku, Toothpaste Goku. Wow. And it gets even crazier, cause where this was all fan shit from the 2000s, we have Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission X for the 3DS featuring characters such as Demigra, Illusion, Brainwashed Gohan, Shadow Goku, Demon God Demigra, Base, Final Form, Makuya Form, Baby Vegeta, Super Baby Vegeta, Super Baby Vegeta 2, Super Baby Trunks, Teen Baby, Neko Majin Mike, Super Mega Cannon Smegma. And then in the show, cause yes, there is a show, it's how I know Ozoto, we got Xeno God Trunks, Meki Kabura, Hearts, Cumber the Evil Saiyan, Transcendent Demigra, Majin Salsa, Xeno Sin Shenron. Shroom. Wow. I love this, but also, as I hinted at earlier, it's wild how we went from a Journey to the West gag manga to whatever the hot fuck is going on here. I did try to read it, but it almost gave me a headache as there's way too much happening at once. It's the most slamming action figures together it has ever been, and I say this being fully cognizant of Bald Saiyan. Motherfucking Fusions for the Nintendo 3DS. A game that asks, what if the entire cast of characters could perform the fusion fraught to become as one? And thank fucking god it's its own original story as a result. No Namek, no 500 Boo forms, just a wee tale of Beans, the Azure Saiyan, and her bestie Pinich, making their wish upon the Dragon Balls that the most ultimatist fighting tournament could happen beyond time and space, and so they, alongside everyone else, get sucked into the non-canon penis realm where all bets are off and anything goes. So, of course, after being given a talking DS by Bulma, they bump into Raditz and Nappa, who join to become D's Nats, followed by the Pilaf gang and then a bunch of made-up motherfuckers crafted out of various existing character assets, which, going by Cashman and Ackman, or this smashing previous designs together is not what Toriyama did a lot too, so yeah, fuck it, let's go. Have some Gaians in there, why don't we? Have Goten and OG Goku meet in his older art style in the cutest form of fan garbage. Bring in Auntie Tights from the Jacko-verse and have fun little scenarios like hijacking Frieza's spaceship and stealing it, or not even just that, Trunks straight up puts a Capsule Scorp logo on that bitch and then Bulmers installs gambling tech on in there using Bulma bucks, and you can even play dress up in there. It rules. If it ain't clear yet, I really like this setting and premise, just dragging on various DB world things into these cute separate maps of skybox floating islands, so you do technically get Namek, I suppose, but King Kai's place will be there alongside Satan City. Both, of course, fully explorable and inhabitable, giving way to fun things like becoming friends with the hecking Ginyu Force. They teach you the way of the six-way fusion fraught, you see, which is fucking cool as heck, and makes for a fun subversion from specifically a Dragon Ball Z game's point of view. Certainly now, for me, as the final game in this video, I will in-depthly discuss not having to fight Goldo, and then Rikum as Krillin and Gohan, and then Rikum again as Goku, and then Berter and Jason Goku, and then all the shit with Ginyu and the changing and the several fights that can result into, and then Frieza and his like 5 forms technically, and the constant endless Gokuing that comes from it is so damn nice. Like I said, all the pacing bog that shit results in is palpable across many a DB game, and so not only just the fact that you simply get to chat and chill with them here talking about desserts and teamwork, but that they also help you and that you can fight them all at once is such a mind-expanding experience. Like, holy shit, call me the strongest human in the world because my third eye just opened. Hey, bada bing. Such a genuine breath of fresh air. Also, you fight all of them at once, being that this is a 5-party members having RPG. It has a simple turn order bar based battle system that integrates a ton of directional and positional stuff, with you being able to knock opponents into and to different places and people to bar placements and damage outputs, and also there's elements and types and rock, papers and scissors and blah 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 gameplay. What am I, a games reviewer? I dig it though. It's very simple on paper at first glance, but surprisingly fun to fuck with in practice due to all the small contextuals it spices itself up with type system. Not to mention how quick it moves. It doesn't concern itself with allocating points or formatting decks or distributing stats or touchscreen shenanigans. Motherfuckers just level up and gain what they gain, and you get to focus on slamming as many action figures together as you can in greatly animated and colorful fashion, I might add. It kinda has that modern-day post-gacha gaming RPG design where numbers go up big and sparkly and nothing much overstays its welcome. Like, the story is cute and I like it, but it also just tends to get to its points very quickly, simply serving to yeet the player into as many exciting new adventures, cameos, and places as fast as it can. Ostensibly, essentially combining the best parts of DBZ Fighters with the DBZ RPGs to make a title that's both very arcadey and also meaty and deceptively complex. Shout out taking quizzes from Giru. Shout out Superman 64ing Spyro style. Shout out getting EXP for handing out flyers for a clothing shop. I like this game. It is good. Hey, Trunks, I don't know if this is exactly the time for that. Oh, goddamn big stretch. What a video this has been, hasn't it? And it feels so good, especially coming now. I think this might be the most variances of systems I've ever had in a single video before. If not this, then it's Mysterious 3D Fighters, but this took me to just about all the systems that did, I'm sure, but then also the fucking Apple Pippin, or whatever the hell the PC Engine CD is. There was Saturn, GBA, GBC, PSP, PS2, NES, SNES, Genesis, DS, 3DS, 360, Amiga, and arcade board discussed. The only thing I ain't touched that I did back then was the N64, and believe you me, I love touching the N64. I did find this amazing Ninty 64 Goku model, and also Dragon Ball Kart 64, which is a funny one because as I was writing this, a real official Dragon Ball kart racing game was discovered. Don't ask me how I'm supposed to play this. I'm sure I can figure out flip phone games for a video someday, but my ass is not doing this for the here and now because I am done.
Come, Broly.